you sick and tired of shark movies? Do you want something new in your shark movies? Do you want your shark movie to have the same scare factor as Steven Spielberg's magnum opus Jaws, one of the best horror movies of all time? If you, my friend, manage to answer all three of these questions, you are most likely to be shit out of luck with whatever movie studio has to offer to you. Sorry. Now, all infomercial jokes aside, why do I personally say this? Well, it's because ever since then, shark movies are starting to wear out its welcome. Hollywood has tried desperately to make it scary and tense again with The Shallows, and that was a pretty decent movie for what it was. However, the subgenre has been mostly run into the ground by all the studios that keep making these terribly cheesy movies like Dino Shark, Two-Headed Shark Attack, Sharktopus, and most of all, the Sharknado series. Now, we're here with another shark movie, but this time it's different. This time it stars the 50-ton, 60-foot-long king of the ocean of the Miocene period known as Megalodon. Yeah, as you probably can't tell, I'm a dinosaur expert. And he is featured in his own movie called, well, The Meg. Based on the popular book series, might I add. In the movie The Meg, a group of scientists that you don't particularly care about have created an underwater excavation project which is being funded by Rainn Wilson as this very narcissistic billionaire. They are trying to discover what is truly beneath the bottom of the ocean, and what they find is something completely monstrous. The Megalodon himself. And so the team has hired our main protagonist, who is played by Jason Statham, as a former rescue diver, mostly because of a tragic incident that had to do with the death of his squad mates. And so it's up to him and the rest of the crew to take down the Megalodon. Alright, so I'm gonna quit beating around the bush and just get straight to the point. I really wanted to have a good time with this movie, and hopefully get something cheesy and enjoyable out of it. However, when I was watching The Meg, I just imagined this logo popping up on the bottom left-hand corner of the movie screen, because that is exactly what The Meg feels like. An incredibly expensive Sci-Fi Channel film. I mean, it has the same kind of story, the same kind of characters, my god, even the same kind of visual effects in the movie, and of course it has the same kind of cheesiness, corniness, and stupidity as the Sharknado movies or something like Dino Shark. Don't believe me? Well, let's go through this movie step by step. Number 1, the story. It's about as simplistic and familiar as you would see in any other Sci-Fi Channel or Asylum movie. You have a group of scientists that are trying to work together to fight off a giant shark that is, well, gonna eat people, and they manage to find a way to defeat the shark at the end. Now guys, don't call a spoiler on this. You know what's gonna happen. Number 2, the characters. These are the kind of characters that you really cannot care less about, and they're just basically there to either be shark bait or archetypes. Or mostly archetypes that are made to be shark bait. But I will have to admit to myself that some of the acting in this movie is very decent. But mind you, decent doesn't always mean good. Jason Statham is very good at playing Jason Statham at the Jason Statham University of playing, well, Jason Statham. Now, okay, I'm sure he's a fine actor, but I'm pretty sure Jason Statham in this movie plays about the same character as he usually plays in any other action movie.
Hello, my name's Jason Statham. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna stop a shark, but it's not gonna be any shark. It's a Megalodon, and I'm gonna stop it once and for all. You can count on me. You know why? Because I'm Jason effing Statham.
That was a terrible Jason Statham impersonation, but you get my point. Now we move on to Rainn Wilson. Now look, I like Rainn Wilson, I like him in The Office, and heck, I like him in some movies like Super, and he was probably the best part in The Last Mimsy, if anyone remembers that movie. But he's basically just like Jason Statham, just being typecast into a movie where he has to play a Rainn Wilson type of a character. In this movie, he just basically plays a narcissistic, opportunistic douchebag billionaire, where he does find underwater exploration to be quite extravagant, but ultimately at the end he just cares about the money. Of course he plays the character just fine, but it's one of those moments where you see an actor that you clearly like and he's just basically playing another character that you've seen in another movie before. And the supporting cast is just like the examples before. They're fine, but their characters are just shallow. You have the black guy who only serves to be comedy relief. You have comedy relief number 2. You have the noble sacrifice. And when it comes down to it, you know exactly who's gonna live and you know exactly who's gonna die. Number 3, the tension. Like any other shark movie, a shark movie is supposed to have suspense. It has to make you feel like your characters are in danger and you want them to survive. However, it just usually plays like a Sharknado movie. There is literally this one point in the movie where a character gets left behind and he's trying to climb on top of a dead whale to safety. All the while the Megalodon is trying to chase the character. However, the shark misses the character and goes for the whale instead, and then goes back into the water. The character sighs in relief and goes, "Oh, thank goodness." And lo and behold, in predictable fashion, the shark gets him. Other than that, the movie just relies on jump scares. And the way it does it is that the camera just goes into first person mode, and then it switches back to the character back into first person mode up until the shark scares the victim. And it does it not once, but twice. Come on, director of National Treasure 1 and 2, you're better than this. Use better scare tactics rather than using jump scares. Number 4, the visual effects. There are some moments in the movie where the Megalodon or the other sea creatures that live in the ocean look promising. They look very good. At other times, they do not look good at all, especially in scenes where it involves a pack of sharks. And number 5, the corniness and cheesiness. Now, I'm particularly a guy who likes to watch cheesy movies. I can have a great time with it. However, there is a difference between dumb fun and being just plain dumb. In the case of the Meg, it's more half and half. There are some dumb fun moments in this movie, especially towards the final act. However, there are some moments that are just plain dumb. Why? Because like I said, it feels like something out of a SyFy channel or an asylum movie. For example, you know the scene in the trailer where a shark goes out to eat people on a beach? There is literally one scene in the movie where a character is trying to run away from the Megalodon using a hamster ball. It's one of those scenes where you're like, okay, you can obviously jump out of the hamster ball just when the shark is trying to eat you. That way, when the shark turns around, you can swim all the way to shore. But nope, we just gotta have an extremely cheesy death scene. In conclusion, I really understand why people are pretty much having a blast with this movie as much as they are. There are gonna be some reviewers on YouTube saying to you guys, just turn your brain off and you'll have a good time. The problem is, you gotta be a good movie first, and The Meg is not it. While there are very few actors that do a very decent job in their performances, and there are some action scenes that I particularly liked in the movie, it's basically the same cheesy shark action movie that you've seen multiple times. You have characters that you don't really care about that mostly serve as archetypes, a very one-dimensional story, visual effects that aren't particularly good, and you have more scenes of suspense that are more predictable than I imagined, and you also have scenes of cheesiness that only serve to be either just fun or just plain stupid. I really wanted to have fun with this movie, but unfortunately, I'm calling it like it is, and giving The Meg a 1.5 out of 5. Alright guys, that is my review of The Meg. Comment below, let me know what you thought about the movie. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. And also, if you would like to see more reviews like this, be sure to subscribe for more. My name is Nukem, and you, my friends, have been blown away.